Hi, my name is Jonathan Marin, and here's what I learned in British literature this year, or I guess this summer, sorry. So here's an introduction. My expectations coming into this course were definitely a little bit disproven, I would say. Um, First of all, I didn't expect the course to be as introspective. I actually expected it to be a little bit more historical and logical, which is totally fine. I had a great time actually doing a lot of the assignments just because it was so like introspective, which is something that I like to do a lot on my own, just in my own thoughts, and it's something that I do constantly, anyways. So being able to read these pieces that honestly kind of shocked me as to you know I guess, that kind of goes to show you how unknowledgeable I was before this. But um, it shocked me just how much, I guess like profound statements and like like self-discovery were in these stories, and it was just so cool to read. Um, yeah, I definitely think I was proven wrong on both fronts in terms of what I was expecting, which wasn't so, I guess, deep in thought, I guess. So the three key learnings, there's a quote I really enjoyed in The Wanderer. It was, "Can a weary mind weather the shitstorm? I think not. Can a rolling heart set itself free? I don't think so." This quote stood out to me because it was essentially what showed me what I was in store for with this course. Immediately, I was kind of taken aback by just how, cutting the quote was. It was just so drenched with hopelessness and so devoid of anything hopeful that it really struck me. And as a fan of like not only just like great lines like this, but like great lyrics, this is like something straight out of like I guess like an emo song almost. It was really cool to read for the first time the entire passage. Um, just seeing just like what I guess literature from that time could essentially be, it almost opened my eyes to um just how much just how universal these types of feelings are throughout the years. And it also brought upon a lot of introspection in myself once I started reading this, I guess, this passage. um, I myself was so shrouded in negativity and engulfed by insecurity, and just like feeling isolated all the time, much like the passage, like the main character in the passage itself. Um, as I was reading it, it almost made me want to refute the quotes from the story, or like the lines from the story, just because um felt like I was in such a good place now, or maybe like I, or maybe like I had just changed my way of thinking from things like this, that it almost kind of gave me this perspective, like wow, like I am so much better off than I was, and that's like really shocking. I guess it's really awesome. I've always been kind of like a nervous person, or maybe like an overthinking person. So this story actually opening my eyes to the fact that maybe I'm not that person as much anymore is just really cool. And and not really an experience I feel like I've had in the past. So here's my creative connection. This is the quote that I pretty much, this is kind of like the reflection that I wrote. A lot of it is, you know, just refuting that central quote uh, from The Wanderer. And it was just so like I said, whenever I read it, like I said, I wanted to refute the actual quote itself, in an attempt to almost like combat like those thoughts, just because like I said, I was just so much better off now than I had been, and it was just my instinct to not let, I guess, those types of quotes relate to me, which is really interesting. But yeah, the piece just was so great, and it was just so much fun to read. Yeah. So here's the reflection. When looking back on the semester, I grew as a thinker in many ways. I learned how to understand a little bit better some of these things. First, I learned how to draw parallels to characters and how to clearly state their differences. Now, I said the word character there, but that also could apply to, historical figures. For example, like when we learned about Equiano, and I guess his name was Samuel Johnson. Yeah. Um, writing that essay and being able to, discern what their perspectives meant for the same cause of ending slavery and how they differed from each other, but yet they were working towards the same cause, which was really, really interesting for me to, I guess, kind of examine a little bit because, like I said, they were from completely different walks of life in so many different ways. And I also learned how to better understand how stories relate to our lives in important ways, and how we can utilize the lessons learned in these stories and apply them to our life experiences. I talk about this later, in this little reflection here, but a text that I found very profound was Gaiwan in the Green Knight. I relate to putting so much importance to like a similar glory that he was kind of searching for in relation to his surroundings and the people around him. And I know how obviously I'm not a knight, but I know how it feels to come up short when you want something that bad, and how it might almost make you like rethink all about how you've been going about life in general, and how important that truly is. um, I think in my time learning British literature, it has shown me how universal experiences truly are. We always think of ourselves as an island experiencing these things on our own, but the truth is, these wants and needs, these things we concern ourselves with daily, have been happening for over a lifetime, just in like really, really different ways. And that's pretty much the truth. Like I said, I'm not a knight, but I can relate to his experience. These are things that, like, throughout history, people have had to suffer through, people have had to go through, but and yet, we still think of ourselves as going alone. But the thing is like we're always taking steps forward to be better. And I think that's what British literature has truly taught me is that these experiences have always been universal, just in different ways depending on the time period, and that we are not alone in our journeys and our struggles. So yeah, uh that's my project, my final project. Thank you so much for being such a great professor, and yeah, have a good night.